my face is locked in, focus, stay on the face. In case you're here for the first time, my name is Billy Matsunaga and I'm a fully trained and certified kimono teacher and stylist. In this video, we will still talk a little bit about common kimono dressing mistakes and how to fix them. And this time with a way less clickbaity title. Oh! It's a cloudy day today. It will be dark and light again. I do not care about it. Today we will again talk about the Ohashori because obviously this is one of the most common issues I see, of course, in classes that I teach, but also on the internet. I see many comments about people struggling with getting a nice Ohashori. I have a few videos already talking about the Ohashori in detail. I have a video where we talk about the Ohashori on too short kimono. And also I have a video where I actually show all my tips and tricks of how I deal with my Ohashori. Both videos will be linked down below in the top right corner, but make sure to check them out after watching this video. Okay, let's get started. The first issue is going to be, why does my Ohashori always turn out too long? Well, here is the most common reason. You're wearing your hem of the kimono way too short. Let's first look at what the Ohashori is and what the Ohashori actually is for. A female kimono is way longer than you need. The kimono should be as long as you are tall from head to floor. And because you don't want to wear this kimono like that, because you would just drag it over the floor when wearing, you have to tie up the kimono. You will have to shorten the hem to a variable hem. And we're going to tie it up at the waist and create a tuck. And this tuck is called Ohashori. When we look at it, the Ohashori is the result of us shortening the kimono when we put it on. Which means how high or how low you wear your hem is going to directly influence the Ohashori. The longer your hem is, the shorter the Ohashori will be. And the shorter your hem is, the longer the Ohashori will be. And especially among beginner kimono dressers, I see this problem popping up the most, that your hem is way too short, and that is why your Ohashori is way too long. So the sun is out again. The right length of hem and then also therefore the right length of Ohashori is actually a little bit hard to do. But with a little bit of practice, you will get there, I promise. First of all, I do really recommend you should get a kimono that has your length. Plus minus 3 centimeter is okay, but not more, not less. You need a kimono in your length, and then it's going to be so much easier to practice the hem and the Ohashori and have both at the length you will actually need. Get your kimono and let's practice the hem. This is a really good exercise to practice also the muscle memory when you do the hem. For this exercise, you don't need to wear a juban underneath, but if you want to, it helps. You don't have to. You can do this just with your kimono over your regular clothing and practice the following. We're gonna start with letting the kimono slide down. So let the kimono slide down, and when you do that, you wanna let the back slide down first. What a lot of people do wrong, and I'm gonna show you now what you're not supposed to do, is this. When you do this, you could see that my back will just drop. So we're not letting the back drop. You want to let the corners here face upwards a little bit, the front corners, and you're gonna let it slide down until the hem touches the floor. You're gonna bring the left side over to your right to measure the front skirt. And you want to make sure that when you do that, that the hem is still on the floor. Can you see that? I'm still hiding my toes. You should not be able to see my toes right now. My hem is still on the floor. I'm gonna open up And before I bring the right side over, I'm going to make sure this hem is on the floor too. And then bring this straight over, let the hem sweep the floor. Lift this up for about 10 centimeters. Hold this in place with the left elbow. Remove wrinkles. And then the left side, I'm going to make sure it's on the floor as well. And I bring this straight over. Let the hem sweep over the floor. And lift this up just a tiny bit. Hold this in place and remove wrinkles. And this is the practice you want to do over and over and over again. It's this hem placement. Let's do it once more together. Lift the kimono up. Let it slide down. Make sure that the back slides down first. And straighten out. Put the corners on the floor. Bring the left side to your right. Make sure the hem is still on the floor. Open up. Make sure the right side is on the floor too. Bring it straight over. Let the hem sweep the floor. Lift this up for about 10 centimeters, 4 inches. Hold this in place. Remove wrinkles. Make sure the left side is on the floor. Bring it straight over. And lift this up just a tiny bit. And hold this in place with your right hand. Remove wrinkles. Once more. Lift the kimono. Let it slide down. Bring the left to your right. Open up. Right to your left. Let the hem sweep the floor. Lift up. Hold in place. Remove wrinkles. Bring the left side over. Lift up a tiny bit. Remove wrinkles. Keep in mind that a longer hem does not only influence the length of your ohashori, it actually also looks better. So you really want to get this practice down and be better at your hem game. To be honest, the hem was for me the hardest part to master. The practice I've just shown you, I've done this every day for half a year, for at least half an hour. Only that, because I really wanted to be better at the hem and have the hem floor length. Having the hem floor length is the hardest thing to do in kimono dressing, and not even super good kimono dressers succeed at it every single time. So it's definitely worth working on that. The second thing that I see very often is that the placement of your koshihimo is off. A good placement of your koshihimo is crucial for a nice ohashori. The general rule is the lower your koshihimo is, the longer your ohashori. The higher your koshihimo is, the shorter the ohashori. The issue is I cannot give you the perfect ohashori placement, especially not if you are collecting secondhand kimono and you wear different lengths and sizes. The common rule on that is the shorter the kimono, the lower you have to place the koshihimo. The longer the kimono, the higher up you have to place the koshihimo. So you have to make actual decisions when putting on a kimono where to place the koshihimo. For beginners in general, I do really recommend to start practicing the basics. Where does the koshihimo actually have to sit when the kimono is my size? You need to know that. When you are asleep and I run into bedroom, wake you up and yell at you, where does your koshihimo have to be? You have to be able to actually show me that spot. This is how important the placement of your koshihimo actually is. So let's practice that with again a kimono that is your height, that is actually the length you need to wear a kimono. This next exercise is going to be perfect doing after you have done the first exercise, because also in kimono dressing, this is the following step. Lift the kimono, let it slide down until the hem touches the floor. Bring the left side over to your right. Open up, right side to your left. Lift up, hold in place, remove wrinkles. Bring the left side to your right. Lift up a tiny bit, hold in place with your right hand. And this hand placement is really important now. If the kimono has your height, I place it right where my hip bone ends. So I have this here right over my hip bone, where my hip bone ends, is where my right hand is placed. This is so important because this right hand will always tell you where your tie is going to sit. Because right hand holds in place, left hand is going to pick up the tie. It's really important to pick up the tie with your left hand. I'm going to give the right side into your right hand. Let it slide through so you can put tie center on body center. Bring the tie to the left, to the back, cross, lift, pull to tighten, bring it to the front, and tie a bow. Or better said, I tie here a half bow. So I'm going to tie a bow and pull one of the loops through. So I end up with one loop on one side and two ends on the other side. Now you can see that my tie sits where my right hand was placed earlier. Let's do this again with a different hand placement so you can see how your right hand actually shows or dictates the height of your tie. Lift the kimono, let it slide down until the hem touches the floor. Bring the left side over to your right. Open up, right side to your left. Lift up, hold in place, remove wrinkles. Bring the left side to your right. Lift up a tiny bit. And this time when I place the right hand on, I'm gonna place it in the center of my waist. Earlier I was down here, now I'm up here. And again, I'm gonna pick up the tie with my left hand. I'm gonna give it into my right hand, let the tie side slide through. So I can put tie center on body center, pass it to the back, cross, pull to tighten, and tie a half bow on the front. And now you can see, let me finish tying my tie. Now you can see my tie sits up here because I had my hand up here. So when you hold your hem with the right hand, the placement of your hand down here will decide the placement of your tie. Keep that in mind. So for a kimono in your length, you want to place your hand on your hip. And the shorter the kimono, the lower you want to place his hand. The longer the kimono, the higher you want to place his hand. So you want to practice this hand placement first for a kimono in your size. So you always have first this hand placement down in one size, okay? I want you to practice this for one size first. And when you have the muscle memory down to always place the hand on the correct spot, after that, you can think about adjusting according to the kimono. But it's really, really important to first practice with a kimono that has your size and practice the muscle memory, to get really the muscle memory in, to really hold this in place. So we're gonna do this one last time. Put my tie down, lift the kimono, let it slide down until the hem touches the floor. Bring the left side over to your right, open up, right side to your left, lift up, hold in place, remove wrinkles. Bring the left side to your right, lift up a tiny bit. I'm gonna place my hand here right over my hip bone. I'm gonna pick up the tie in the center, right side into your right hand, let it slide through, pass it to the back, cross, lift, pull to tighten, and tie a half bow on the front. So the first exercise and this exercise, It's what you can practice over and over, even over your regular clothes, every night, 5 to 10 minutes, and you will build up that muscle memory you will need to be really good at kimono dressing. As I already said, this placement will differ from kimono to kimono, and after practicing the basics, you will have to learn how to adjust the skill on different lengths of kimono. I am also aware that on some people, the koshihimo just tends to walk up its way into your waist because it doesn't stay down here. The issue has to be solved with padding. There is no other way. You will need some hip padding down here so the tie actually stays down there. This happens especially if you have a very big hip and small waist ratio. I do really recommend some padding. I do have a video of how to make the padding also on this channel that I will link down below. And believe me, this will help you a lot in an instance. This is something that also a lot of my students still struggle with, is a bulky ohashori. There are many things you can do wrong, so your ohashori is too bulky. So for me personally, I usually want to go over these kind of issues in class. In this video, I want to address the most common issue, that is you do not take proper care of the inside of your ohashori. Keep in mind that the ohashori is a tuck of in total 4 layers. So you have 2 outside layers and 2 inside layers, and you have to take care of the inside layers. And you want to fold them up and get them out of the way. You call this sankaku age. It's actually kimono dressing technique. And I want to show you how to do that with the following practice. For the sake to make explaining a little bit easier, I'm going to use a cording belt. I think cording belts are perfect for you to train your kitsuke skills and have a good outcome. So I do really recommend having 1 or 2 actually of those. And we're gonna hold this, enter the kimono with the left hand through the miyatsuguchi. You wanna hold the collar in place. And we're gonna slide up with the other hand to fold the collar down. Make sure to have 5mm over your jubon collar, flat hand. Gonna make sure we have a nice opening here on the front. Usually want to show 2.5 centimeter of your jubon collar. That's 1 inch. Give me a second. I have to place my microphone a little bit differently so I can do the collar properly. You're gonna make a flat hand, slide down, hold the collar in place with your right hand, left hand clips the clip on. And you stay with both hands where they are. Don't move them right now. So you now have under your clip, you have still fabric hanging there. And this is what I very often refer to the inner layer of the ohashori. And this fabric here that is on the inside, that's what you want to get rid of on the bottom. And there is no other way than just folding it straight up. So this fabric here on the inside, this bunch of fabric, I'm gonna fold this up with my right hand, straight up behind my left hand up. And I'm gonna slide straight over to the right side. And this creates a tuck on my right chest that I'm gonna pinch and fold down. Put my right hand on top to hold everything in place and pass the belt around. I'm gonna finish off the tuck and then also the other side of my collar. And now the ohashori here on the inside, when you feel it, it should be only 2 layers rubbing on top of each other. I can still feel my fingertips through the layers, and that is really important. If you have more than 2 layers down here, it means that the inner layer is still there, that you have not succeeded in folding this up. Folding this inner layer up is gonna make the ohashori really straight and nice and not bulky at all. So practicing the so-called sankaku age, that's what you call this step, is really important to make a nicer ohashori. But again, this could be only one of the reasons why ohashori is bulky on the front. Be aware that the inside of the ohashori tends to fall down from time to time, so even if you did fold it up, when you're done and your ohashori is bulky, you want to check here on the front how many layers you actually have there. Is it only 2, or are you feeling something on the inside? That actually meant your sankaku age has completely dropped, and after having the obi on, you can really fix that. Let's say it's just a bad kitsuke day on those days. I would not recommend to redo it. I would just live my life with the bulky ohashori on one day. In general, all of these practices I've been showing in this video, make sure to really practice them, because a lot of people are not aware of that, but kimono dressing is a skill that has to be practiced. And the more effort you put into it, the better you get. So just practice. That's all I can say. If you have some issues and you want to have them solved, you can also hit me up for a class. I have a link down below if you're interested in my classes. But in general, I think this video will give you already a lot to practice. So I wish you lots of fun. Have a wonderful kimono journey, and I see you in the next kimono adventure. Bye!